A Navy SEAL in the room says at this point the interrogator is leaning into al-Jamadi's chest with his forearm, what he calls a pressure point. The prisoner is moaning. According to documents, the chair is fitted into holes in the floor. One explanation may be so it won't slide under the pressure. And as we'll learn later, pressure on al-Jamadi's chest could be related to his death. Here's what another CIA security guard in the room told investigators. Again, an actor reads from the official report.
He recalled al-Jamadi saying, I'm dying, translated by the interpreter, to which the interrogator replied, I don't care, and you'll be wishing you were dying. The guard, who was also a paramedic, said that al-Jamadi seemed conscious, but his head lolled and his breathing was labored.
Navy SEALs in the room say during the interrogation al-Jamadi slides out of his chair 3 times. One, a medical corpsman named Jared Holferty, speculates that the Iraqi lost consciousness. But others in the room say al-Jamadi never claims to be dying, and they don't see him slip out of his chair. After nearly an hour and a half of interrogation, witnesses disagree about the precise time, al-Jamadi repeatedly denies having any explosives. Finally, the CIA chief says it's time to take him to Abu Ghraib. The prisoner walks without assistance to the SUV. The trip to the prison takes less than half an hour.
It was very early in the morning, about like 4:30.
Tony Diaz is a former military policeman who served at Abu Ghraib. He didn't want to talk to me at his home in Virginia, so we talked in my car a few miles away. It's his first conversation with a reporter. Diaz is confident and assertive. He refers to the CIA as OGA, an acronym meaning Other Government Agency. Diaz says the OGA brought al-Jamadi to him and another MP to be prepared for further interrogation.
He was just wearing a shirt. I never saw what the guy looked like. He had a bag over his head. Didn't know what he looked like or what state he was in. But I know when he came in, he was breathing hard. He was very cold. He was shaking. He had a couple of bruises. When we put the jumpsuit on, I saw a couple of bruises on him, like he'd been through rough times.
NPR's review of prison logs shows that al-Jamadi wasn't formally checked into the prison, nor was he given even a cursory medical examination, making him what has come to be called a ghost detainee. Diaz says al-Jamadi occasionally uttered some English phrases like, I can't speak, but most of the conversation was in Arabic.
It was 2 OGA guys translating. I guess they were talking to him in Arabic. He was responding back with, I don't know what, because I don't understand what he was saying.
Around 5 a.m., al-Jamadi's hands are cuffed behind his back. He's led into the shower room where interrogation will resume. According to Tony Diaz, they lead the Iraqi to a barred window in that room. He has about 2 hours more to live. At this point, the MPs who brought al-Jamadi into the room and the 2 CIA men who interrogated him begin to tell different stories. Tony Diaz describes what he and another MP did with al-Jamadi at that window.
Well, his back was against the rail. Both arms were lifted and was handcuffed to some of the bars. And then he was pretty much like hanging. You know what I mean? From the back like this. We left a lot of slack because he wasn't really opposing or anything.
Now, it's been widely reported that al-Jamadi died after being hanged by his arms, both of them stretched up behind him, bearing his full weight. Known today as a Palestinian hanging, it's an extremely painful position and has been used as torture for centuries. But Diaz and the other MP who fastened al-Jamadi to the window bars insist there was enough slack so that the prisoner could either stand or kneel.
From that point, we just left him by himself with the OGA guy, and we all left, closed the door.
The shackling takes about 10 minutes. From that point on, only the CIA interrogator and the interpreter know for sure what happened next. They tell investigators al-Jamadi had been sitting. Then he stood up and was talking about the city of Mosul and hating Americans, when all of a sudden he dropped, falling to at least one knee. One of the CIA men tells investigators he thought al-Jamadi was faking, but says they immediately called for a medic because they weren't sure. Here's where the stories differ. Tony Diaz, the military policeman, says the CIA summoned the MPs, not the medics.
The OGA steps out and like, hey guys, I need some help here. This guy here is not cooperating. He's not saying anything. So that's when we came in.
Diaz says the CIA wanted al-Jamadi's hands positioned higher up on the window bars so he would have to stand. Diaz says as they prepared to lift him, the MPs found al-Jamadi nearly on his knees, slumped forward, with the weight on his shackled wrists.
You could see the handcuff like almost literally coming out of his socket. I mean, that's how bad he was hanging. The OGA guy, he was kind of calm. He was sitting down the whole time. He was like, yeah, you know, he just don't want to cooperate. I think you should lift him a little higher. And we were pretty much telling him, okay, if that's what you want, you know, with the MP, so we'll make that happen for you. So we lift him up a little bit more.
It takes 2 men to lift al-Jamadi and a third to fasten the cuffs higher up on the window. Sergeant Jeffrey Frost is one of the MPs doing the heavy lifting. Now a car alarm installer in Virginia, Frost spoke with me in an auto dealer's lot near Washington, D.C. Back then, he says, the CIA told MPs that al-Jamadi was faking.
This guy's pretty good at playing possum because I'm only holding him up by his jumpsuit, and I know it's got to be crushing, his crotch. And he's damn good at playing possum, because I'd be screaming my ass off right now.
When they release him, though, al-Jamadi still goes to his knees. So, Frost says, the MPs raise his cuffs even higher and release al-Jamadi again.
He didn't stand up. His arms just kept on bending at this not awkward position, but it was, I was almost waiting for a bone to break or something and just thinking, this guy, he's really good at playing possum. And then after we lowered him down and took our hands off him, that's when kind of we realized something may be wrong.
Al-Jamadi is dead. He may have been dead when the soldiers came in, or he may have died while they were repositioning him. Diaz says when they lower the Iraqi to the floor, blood flows from his mouth. And he says the MPs are not happy with the CIA, which he calls OGAs.
We look at the OGA guy, we tell him, hey, this is on you. I mean, I don't know what you guys did, but, this is out of our hand. I mean, you deal with it.
And a CIA spokesman, Paul Gimigliano, says the agency is still dealing with it nearly 2 years later, with its own investigation not yet completed. And that's all the CIA would say about the matter, in spite of repeated NPR requests for interviews with agency officials. According to an email confirming our request for an interview, Gimigliano said, on the case itself, it has indeed been a thorough look. The Office of Inspector General is energetic and thoroughly investigates any allegation of wrongdoing by CIA personnel. 23 months ago in that Abu Ghraib shower stall, MP Tony Diaz says the CIA men finally did call for the medics after it was clear al-Jamadi was dead.
I don't know. I was sad for that guy. Yeah, I was really sad for him. After that, it was very quiet after that.
At least until one of the CIA men started talking on his cell phone.
He was kind of worried. He grabbed his cell phone, went outside, started walking back and forth, and he looked like he was real worried, like, it was actually their fault.
In the documents reviewed by NPR, the interpreter says the CIA interrogator was scared and panicked. Both men told CIA investigators they used no force on al-Jamadi. Frost and Diaz say the prison brass soon gathered in the room. A medic bandaged the facial cut, and al-Jamadi's body was iced down and stored for the night. CIA investigative documents indicate that al-Jamadi's blood-stained hood disappeared and has never been found. The next day, the body was rolled out of the prison on a gurney, an IV stuck in an arm as if al-Jamadi was still alive.